Good Monday morning. Here's Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is the 15th of April. We'll start with Apple today. That bounced strongly over the past two trading sessions, Thursday and Friday last week, to be rejected just below the resistance at 178.67 and the 55 moving average coming down here. So I expect it to slide lower in coming days, also supported by the RSI. Did not close above 60 threshold. It needs to close above 60 threshold to move into a positive sentiment. If it does that, if it closes above 60 and if it closes above 178.67, well, then there could be further upside potential to around 182.50. Otherwise, I think it will slide back lower in coming days. Moving on to the indices where we have the Dow Jones. Let's have a look at it. After testing the support at 38,457 a couple of times, it really sold off Friday, very close to the support at 37.78. Giving us some support here at the 100 moving average, but we are in a downtrend. Also bearish sentiment on the RSI, so we could see further sell-off down to around 37,000, which is the lower part of this consolidation area right there. Nasdaq 100 still caught in this range, 17,800 support area or level. S&P 500 closed below minor support at 5,146. So now we are in a downtrend with lower lows and lower highs. Support 5,057 is next. The 55 moving average will give a little bit of support, but I think we will test the 5,057 shortly, a few days, I would say. In the European market, EUROSTOXX 50 closed twice below 4,976, trying to get back above today. If it does succeed, well, we will pay attention to the RSI. Will it close above the falling trend line? And most importantly, will it close it back above 60 threshold? I'm not quite sure. I think we will see further sell-off here in EUROSTOXX 50 in coming days and weeks. 4,888, there are some support. Moving on to DAX. Still 17,900, bouncing a little bit today. I think we'll be tested in a couple of days too, but still trust the charts, what they're telling you, still above the lower falling trend line here, and that support area around there that needs to hold. The AX Amsterdam, that massive sell-off here Friday, massive, but still almost from the get-go tried to lift a little bit and then we close lower. It looks like a chopper reversal pattern, and we also have a divergence here on the RSI, so it's not really supporting. I think in the coming days we could see a test of 872. What is really key here, though, is also to think about. We are about mid-April, and usually you say sell in May and go away. Will it happen this year, earlier or not? Still up for debate, but keep an eye on the support levels. CAC 40 is in a downtrend, despite jumping a little bit today. No really strong support until around 78.75, and this gap area here down to 78.12. The Swiss market closed Friday below support 11,386. Could maybe argue, is that the support? But that was the close, so that's why you have to rely a little bit more on that one. But also what is interesting is it touched almost the 61.8 retracement at 11,345. We are in a downtrend on the Swiss market, the RSI below 40, meaning we are in a negative sentiment. I think we will push lower, possibly below the cloud area here towards 11,250, 222. Moving on to the FX market with the euro dollar that sold off heavily most of last week. We were below 106.66, 106.60. Sorry, support pushed all the way down to the 161.8 projection of this uptrend here, and then projected down at 106.25. We are in a downtrend, negative RSI. No divergence. We could see your dollar pushing lower towards 106 in this week. Currently, a little bit of correction should be expected, possibly all the way up to 107, but then I think we will see sellers coming in, pushing lower again. More or less the same picture on cable, pushed all the way down to 161.8, projection at 124.35 of this correction there. Support around 124.10. It's not the strongest one. It's derived from the levels over here. 123.75 could be seen here in the coming week. We are on a negative sentiment, and there is no divergence, meaning we could possibly push lower. All the moving averages are declining, so the underlying the trend is also bearish. What is not bearish is dollar yen. Pushing higher above the 161.8 projection. I think we will see a push up to around the 154.25, possibly all the way up to around 155.30, and that will be 100% of this correction phase here that is just pushed further up. And I think what I will do, I will remove this one and say, okay, that is where we are likely to move here. Euro yen bounced strongly off 162.60 support, dipping a little bit lower, below the 55 moving average and below the rising trend line here. But we are above. We closed above and we're opening above this morning, pushing higher. And what we could see, if I just add a little bit of a Fibonacci tool there, currently at 61.8 retracement, 164 and a change. If it's moving higher, which I believe it will, well, if it takes out the 165.17, that little peak there, well, then there's potential up to 166.30, 166.90, 167 level. So keep an eye on that. We had Aussie yen bouncing from or testing and then bouncing from 786 retracement of this uptrend there, pushing higher. And I bet we also around the 61.8 retracement on the other side. Yeah, only about 50, but very close to 61.8. So we could potentially resume uptrend, which I believe we will. I think there's no divergence on the RSI. We have the RSI in a positive sentiment, so we should see it pushing higher in coming days and weeks. Yeah, there's no divergence, it seems. Sterling yen also bouncing off supports here just around 190. If it takes out the previous peak over here at 193.07, well, I think we will see a push towards 195, possibly a little bit higher, but at least 195. If it takes out 190, well, then it will push lower. Aussie dollar actually closed Friday below 64.85 support, trying to get back above, and as we speak we are a little bit above, and we have the well, the RSI was actually below 40, so we are in a negative sentiment. I think downside pressure could push it down to around 64 here in coming week or so. Dollar Canada closed above the 786 retracement at 137.45. A little bit of correction should be expected, but positive sentiment arise. There is potential up to around 139 on dollar Canada in coming week or coming weeks, but do expect a little bit of correction. What you could do, we could add a little bit of a retracement there and see, okay, how much could it actually retrace? Well, down to 38.2 retracement at 136.70. It's not unlikely before next push higher. The dollar Swiss, just a quick look here, still in an uptrend, possibly up to 92.45. Finally, on the dollar index, that is trading around this resistance area here, 105.76, 105.96, just below 106. I still believe we could see a little bit push higher to test that, but then we could be facing a correction. Moving on to gold. Spot, really massive spike up Friday to 24.30 level, 31 before it got hammered back down, and now we could actually see a correction kicking in. Not confirmed yet. What I will do, I will just draw a little bit of a horizontal line there and say, okay, we could see it sliding lower to the 38.2 retracement at 23.22. But if it does take out 23.19, well, then I think we will be looking at levels around, and here we also have a little bit of a support line here around 22.67, possibly dividing around to 22.55. But the uptrend is intact. Also, if we're looking at the medium-term trend, there's no divergence on medium term, so we could push higher on the medium term. But for now, it looks a little bit overbought. A little bit of a correction could kick in. Same picture here on silver, that actually also massive spike up, then collapsing down, testing the 38.2 retracement this morning. If it takes out the lows today, and I would say we have a little bit of support line right there, 27.53, well, then we are looking at 26.40 for a correction, which is not unlikely in these metals. Platinum touched the 1007 level. This spike up here we saw back in December, January, and we are up there again, but now expect a correction. I'll also add a little bit of a retracement. I would do that, like, oops, it didn't really, sorry about that. Let's do it again. There we go. Then we could be looking at, well, 38.2 retracement already almost reached. If we move below 959, well, then we are looking at 935, I believe. On the energy side, WTI seems to be in a correction phase, spiking above the 87.25 a couple of times to 87.5. I think we'll see a correction down to around 82.50, maybe a little bit lower to the 38.2 retracement. And Brent crude, more or less the same picture really here. Also spiking up Friday, but selling off. And I think we could slide down to around the 87.35, maybe a little bit lower. That will still keep the uptrend intact, but we are in a correction phase at the moment. Finally, on the US 10-year yields, well, it's almost 460. We are in an uptrend, possibly up to 470 in coming weeks, but a little bit of correction should not hurt that. All right, that's all today. Have a nice day and happy trading.